Hello, this is IK. Welcome to Reducer. Reducer coming in life of React through Redux. Redux is owner of Reducer. Redux is owner of Store, and Store is owner of Reducer. Store, there is a common state for every reducer, and reducer we coding, we scripting like slice. We have only one slice, posts, plural, posts. It is array on the, we have only one slice. It is object. Here it is, and named posts, posts, plural, equal curly brackets, and in curly brackets we have a post array. We have properties of that object, post. Here we see initial state, post array empty, status idle, and error null. Object properties, we write left with the columns, and the right side is and on right is value of that properties. And state on the output of reducer is only one. It is a state, only one item. It is a state, and in our situation momentarily it is object state. And input, there is a two input, state and action, and two input, one output. It is reducer, maybe name coming from that. And state in input is copy of state in output. It means that state in input is object with three properties. But action, when we look at this, we always look at state and action like something equal. State and action coming in interaction. Yes, but action is impact only to properties post, to array, properties post through array. It means that tang function, there is asynchronous request to server, and server on server lay posts properties of our object post. Lay post, same name is array. Lay array, and the tang function only communicate with mock server, remote mock server, only with remote mock server about request and response about that post array, request response. When we add something through our add form post, we add title and content. Server update it, add it to push it to array, post, and create ID. And the response ID, title, content. And that response promise, take it and give it extra reducer, and the extra reducer received it like payload, and received it as action. Action is object with the two properties type, and payload. Payload, it is interesting for us what would be a request response. It is always about payload. dispatch, when tank dispatch first time type action type pending, it is nothing. It is only waiting. It is not payload, have not payload. But after waiting, after finished, we have type fulfilled, and in that moment we have payload when fulfilled. That payload at first crude read. At first we have read. In read we have a fetch post. That payload would be all posts array from a mock server. When we add new post, payload would be ID, title, content. When we update, payload would be ID, title, content. When we delete, payload would be ID, title, content. This state, input state, and is copy of output state. It means that it is object with properties post, status, error. But action is only action object action is only about properties of object state, of object post, array, post array. Action is not about all state. Action is only about post, and there is a type and there is a payload. Type say what to do with payload. Pending, fulfilled, rejected, and payload exist or not exist. Pending never have payload in pending because it is waiting what will be, and after that be fulfilled or rejected. And fulfilled only fulfilled the coming with payload. Only fulfilled coming with payload. Rejected have not payload. Reject have some error. And state is object post, same name, object post, and properties post. And I ask myself how output state is also object, and what and I think, and it is true, that status and error don't go through reducer. There is a no, we don't need it. We don't need it. We have object on input, like copy of output state. But in that copy, action is only connected interaction with the post properties, with array. And about that interaction, about depend of payload, we have a list of posts. We have a list of posts. That list of posts can be after that list of posts can be after fetch post, after reading, and we see all posts. Can be after add a new post, and we see list with one post more. Can be delete, and we see list with one post less. And can be update with we see list with one post updated. It is I want in this video that give focus on that state output, state input, and action. Action is object in interaction only with part post, with properties post of object post. How status, now initial status, idle, error, null, status can be succeeded, idle, loading, status succeeding, payload coming always in input, in object action, like properties of object action, payload, and type of action, type and payload, it is object action. And it is about post array. But that action coming input interact with the post properties of state, and we have new state. We have new state. It is immutable way because we have copy of state. We interact, action interact with the posts inside copy of state. And it is immutable way of mutation of state. First question: what is what is part of status and error? Status and error, middleware create changes of status and changes of error. We must know that status value of status idle, it is a string. It is primitive data. Error, null. It is keyword. It is the keyword. It is also primitive data. And we can, primitive data, we cannot change any changes, directly changes of primitive data like string, number, etc. Means would be created a new location in memory, would not be delete existing value, and in that same place in memory created new value. No, all existing value stay where it is, and new value go in a new location in memory, and the reference of that variable, of that primitive data reference, only before point to one position, now point in other position. Reference is the same and point in other position. It is immutable way by default. Immutable way by default. Immutable means original state untouched, and in the new location memory we create a new variable, new value without touch original. Original stay in memory and in archive, etc. It is immutable by default. It means that middleware, we don't know how, but status idle, error null. After that, status succeeded, status loading, status succeeding, status rejected, status failed. All that is changed by middleware. And we don't know how, because it is not important for us. Important is that output state is object with post as depending about action, status depending of also type of action, and we said for pending type, status would be loading, error null. For fulfilled status would be succeeded, etc. And that value, status equal idle, it is we write it directly, state dot status equal loading. We said it directly in post slides, and I'm a library behind of that regulate that changes, and middleware regulate that changes of status and error. But in our focus, in our interesting our interest, main interest in scripting is that action, and we're thinking about post properties, and we have asynchronous request, asynchronous response. We have that tongue function, and all about all that about post mock server, status and error coming from post slice, what we coding in post slice, but payload depend what we at first what we have on the server, fetch post, but after that what we send, what we send to, what we add new post, what we delete post, what we update post. It is payload. It is payload. Go in server, go back. And maybe you ask yourself, as I ask yourself, why we need status and error, and why we need object with three properties: post, array, status, error. Why it is not enough only one state, only state arrays, not one, but state array type post, only without status and error. And it is example when we have not Redux, when we have only React connected to React communicate with remote mock server. In that situation, we have not Redux, we have not nothing about Redux. Have not store, have not reducer, have not middleware, have not tongue function. Only what we have is asynchronous request, asynchronous request, response, and promise, and all other. But we have not status and error also. And why we use Redux, why we use that status and error with Redux? Because of that, Redux is a full hard state manager. And what it means? It means that state manager, Redux, take care, must know every step in asynchronous work. And this step is tongue function dispatch, action type pending, action type fulfilled. It is processing in asynchronous process. But Redux cannot understand asynchronous part, understand only synchronized part. And because of that, we have middleware in that middleware, part of that middleware is function tank, and all that together dispatch action type pending, action type fulfilled, and the Redux understand it, and know in every step, in every in every moment, know state what happened with the state. And because of that, we have status and error. Status and error communicate with user interface. Because the status succeeded. In our logic means to render, to show a complete all is okay, and we see post list with updated post, with deleted post, all list, etc. In the deleted post, we see that in the user interface also. We see loading, animation of text, and we see a list, and when we list of posts, and when we add a new post, immediately we see that in our list. But if somebody in the world add a new post to our mock server or our server post in array post, we will not see that without a refresh. What we send to server, some other who is uploaded before that, uploaded a list of posts, will not see what you send without refresh. And how function social network, Facebook and Twitter, etc., where we immediately see, request response, our communication on the screen. It is some software, that server for that kind of visibility, that feature must have software for that. And you can ask artificial intelligence what you need, and it said your name of that software, what must have server if you want communication like Twitter and Facebook. Okay, for this video, connection is state. What is state? State, our state in this application is object. What is action? Action is object with connected with props, post, properties of object post. About post of object post, array post about of object post, and it is action. And the status and error is only information for Redux, what happened, only information in global state, and all subscribed component immediately know changes, immediately see what changed status from idle to pending to loading to succeeded, error, and post. But I now spoke about status and error. It is immediately exist that changes exist in state, reducer, in global store, and every subscribed component know what is status and use that for information on user interface. In user interface, we can see animation of loading or some text about error. It is status and error function, status and error. But when we have not Redux, when we application without Redux, I show in some video that cooperation that compare that. There is only post array. There is no status and error, and there is only post array, and there is no subscription. There is no global state. There is only local state, and local state for local state is enough. Post array. It would be state. We don't need status and error because local state receive what needed, and needed only post about array post needed, updated, not updated, deleted, read, add a new post, etc. It's immediately visible. And don't know what happened during asynchronous process without Redux or without other state management. And local state manager is use a state hook, and of course JavaScript have possibility to go asynchronous, and some error in asynchronous process would be visible. We take care about error, and it would be visible and tangible for local. But with Redux and with global state, like our posts now, all components take care, components that need that information about global state are connected, are subscribed. How to subscribe? By use selector. It is connection. It is listener of state, use selector. And every component who listen global state know and need information, status and error. Also, not only post array. Okay, in a video where I would talk about React without Redux, that part, that asynchronous process, we will see how that work there, and we can compare. But now it is important thinking about this image, what we see, that this image of reducer and state action input, state output, immutable way of mutation, immutable way of post array. It is actions post interaction, and immutable way status error. It is go directly. The status and idle don't don't go through reducer. They middleware like part of Redux manage that changes status and error. But uh, array post go through action, uh, go interaction with the copy of state, and go and build new state. It's all for this video, and I hope that this video help you. And if you was confused, like I was confused, uh, and I'm not now confused, but I'm conscious that React and Redux and that library, JavaScript library and frameworks, because of functional programming and declarative programming, uh, can be very, very, very confused, very confused. But thanks to artificial intelligence, concretely ChatGPT, I resolved all my confusion very, very fast. And compare with the before artificial, it is like sky and land difference. And in my job, teachers preparing video, artificial intelligence is something genius. Thanks, authors of artificial intelligence. And thanks to you for watching this video.